You are now listening to About That Business, hosted by Rom Wills. Rom Wills is an entrepreneur and personal coach who has helped people reach their fullest potential personally and professionally. Take it away, Rom.
Welcome to Rom Wills, About That Business. Which store do you want to own? And before I get into this hypothetical, I want to tell you what inspired it. Every now and then, you'll get YouTube content creators who'll get into a beef or something like that. And for reasons I can't fathom, I really can't fathom, they get into how many subscribers they have over the other one. And one reason why I can't fathom it is because it's quite possible to choose, even though they might have some people that overlap, there's going to be two things going on. One, each person is going to have their own content, their own people because of their unique content. And then the quality of their content, unless they're talking about the same exact thing, you can't really judge who's better and who's not. Numbers are irrelevant. Now, here's why I wanted to use the example for several reasons. Which store do you want to own, right? And I'm going to tell you why. Now, understand, in general, you want to get as much traffic as possible. But bear with me for this scenario. Now, which store do you want to own? Do you want to own, like, the discount store that sells cheap clothing, maybe cheap food, but gets a lot of traffic? Or do you want to own the high-end store that would probably actually make more money, might not get that much traffic, right? But when people do spend money, they spend a lot. Now, I remember years ago when I think it was Versace had a store. I think it was the Versace store it was right outside of D.C. in Chevy Chase, Maryland, right? Or Friendship Heights, Maryland, I believe that was, right? Right outside Ritzy area. People from DC know what I'm talking about. Like right outside of Northwest DC. Like that whole area is money, right? That whole area is money. And, there was a gym that I would go to right next to the Versace store, right? And I would walk by and I would just see the people in there just looking. Like I never see anybody in there. I would see them just looking. I remember, because one was the manager was this brother who had a bouffant hairdo. That dude had a bouffant hairdo, but nobody's going to mess with him because he was like about 6'3" and buff like crazy. So nobody's going to get in his face and tell him about his hairdo. But he was the manager, and they'd be sitting there chilling, right? And I talked to somebody about it. I was like, man, I don't ever see anybody in there. But what they said was they might get maybe 10 good people a day. But just the nature of the store, right? Just the nature of the store, somebody would come in and spend several $1,000s. And they would usually be in there so long because they would have a personal shop. They have a personal person that comes in there and stick with them all day. It was to the point somebody else would go out and get that customer lunch. So, it wasn't nothing for somebody to spend $10,000 in there. Like I said, it was money, right? Now, you contrast that with maybe a Walmart or something. Oh, they get nothing but traffic, right? They get nothing but traffic. Now, as a business owner, which one would you rather have? Now, I know some people will say, you know what, I'd rather have like the Walmart or something, but, think about what you're getting, because, the high-end store, it don't get as much traffic, but you selling better products, right? You selling more class. You're held in higher esteem than the one getting a lot. But see, one of the things too is it's two different customers, right? So it depends on which customers you want. Now you might want the discount customers, and that's cool. But from a personal perspective, you should always be searching for quality. See, the problem with the discount things, people don't really want it. That's the problem. I mean, you can open that store, you probably make a little bit of money, but do people really want that, right? Because people, even rich people, right? Now, we always talk about how, some rich people won't spend all that money on something, but when they do spend money, that's one thing rich people do. They won't get anything that's just cheap. Nobody rich will get something cheap now. They ain't gonna pay they prefer not to pay retail, but they prefer something that's gonna last. So, they ain't gonna buy, something in one store. They might not want to pay $200 for it, but they might not want to pay like $20 for it because that's real cheap. But they might get that thing that's like in between or something, right? That's solid, right? So which store would you rather own? I would think you would want to own the quality store, but that's me. That's me, because it's not a right or wrong answer. It depends on your preference and what you're trying to do, what your audience is, right? What's your consumer base? But I wanted to share that because you have to you can't really compare the two at the end of the day, because it's two different crowds, right? It's two different crowds. So it's like, you got to think about which one is more you, right? Which store would you rather own? Something to talk about, something to talk about. Like I said, me, from a personal perspective, I'd rather have the quality stuff and a certain level of customer than the general stuff, right? And just to be clear, this ain't directed at anyone in particular. It really isn't. It really isn't. But it's always an interesting thing. Like, you can find a Walmart almost anywhere, right? But like for me, like, here's an example. Like within reasonable driving distance of where I live, like reasonable, I can find about 3 Walmarts, right? I mean, all of them some miles away, right? But it's like reasonable. I can reach them all within a half an hour. But if I want to reach a Nordstrom's, that's not a half an hour. I gotta go through shortcuts and everything to find a Nordstrom's, right? And you go into Nordstrom's. Anybody's gone into Nordstrom's, that's some quality stuff. You rarely see a sale sign. In fact, every time I've gone into Nordstrom's, I've never seen anything discounted on sale. If you want to find out the price, you got to look at the price tag. And it's never like, oh, this is on sale, right? In fact, I don't recall. Yeah, if you want discounted stuff at Nordstrom's, you got to go to Nordstrom Rack or something. They don't even sell discounted stuff within the store. You got to go in the basement for it, at least at Towson Town Center in Towson, Maryland, outside of Baltimore, all right? But when you think about it, which one would I rather own? Personally, I'd rather own the high-end store. Why? People spend more money. And people are associated with good quality stuff, which keeps customers coming back. So you got to think about that. Which one you want to own? What is it about for you? Just money? Or, just having numbers consumers? Or, having some quality stuff, not as many. Another store I worked at, too, I worked at this African shop, right? It sold African clothes and African sculpture. Some of those sculptures could go for like $1,000 easily, I would sit in there sometimes. I could, I would be at work, might talk to 10 people. 3 of them might buy something, but it was high-end stuff. It was high-end stuff. In fact, I think I spent a good deal of my time once I cleaned up around there, like standing in the doorway, just checking out women walking by, right? But, it was a different type of thing. So, one of the takeaways from this is thinking about, okay, what do you want to own? A second takeaway is, who's your audience? Right? Whatever product or service you have, you got to think, all right, who is going to buy this product or service? All right, who do I want to talk to? So it might not be about numbers. Sometimes people get too much into numbers, but you got to think, all right, the only number you should get into is how much money is it going to make me? Right? Which store do you want to own? How much money will you really make from this? What kind of value are you giving? Right? So, yeah. I sit around and just think about these things. Yeah, so anyway, y'all know what it is. Let's go make that money.